Ladies and gentlemen, to truly understand why you cannot give up, we must first grasp the fundamental nature of our being. You see, my dear friends, you are not merely a physical body moving through a material world. You are, in essence, pure consciousness, an extension of the divine mind that creates and sustains all of existence. This consciousness, this awareness that you call I, is the very substance of God, expressing itself as you. Can God give up? Can the infinite, eternal, all-powerful creator of the universe ever surrender or abandon its creations? The very notion is absurd. And if you are, in truth, one with this divine power, how then can you give up? You see, giving up is nothing more than a state of consciousness, a belief in limitation and defeat. But these limitations exist only in your imagination. They're not real in any absolute sense. They are simply ideas you have accepted as true, shadows cast by the light of your own divine nature. Consider the experience you have. Every circumstance in your life is a reflection of your state of consciousness. The world you see around you is nothing more than your own self pushed out. It is a mirror showing you the contents of your own mind. When you feel tempted to give up, what you're really seeing is a projection of your own doubts and fears. But here's the liberating truth. Just as you have the power to imagine defeat, you have the equal power to imagine victory. You have the God-given ability to choose your state of consciousness. And in choosing, you create your reality. Let me share with you a principle that has transformed countless lives. Imagination creates reality. Your imagination is not some idle fancy or frivolous daydream. It is the very workshop of creation. When you imagine you engaging the same creative power that spoke the universe into existence. So when you say, I cannot give up, you are not merely making a statement of determination. You are, in fact, planting a seed in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. You are decreeing the truth about yourself and your world, and the universe has no choice but to conform to this truth. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, I've tried to persist, and yet I still face failure and disappointment. To this, I say, failure is impossible. What you perceive as failure is simply the bridge of incidents leading to your desired end. It is the universe rearranging itself to accommodate your new state of consciousness. Remember, the outer world always lags behind the inner world. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean your imaginal act hasn't taken root. The seed must be given time to grow. Your job is not to make things happen, but to maintain the state of consciousness of already having what you desire. Let's practice this now. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies you have already achieved your goal. Make it as vivid and real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions you would feel if your desire were already fulfilled. Here's the crucial part. You must feel the naturalness of this state. It must feel normal, not extraordinary. This is the secret of successful imagining. As you open your eyes, carry this feeling with you. Let it permeate your entire being. This is what it means to live from the end. You are not working towards your goal. You are living from the state of its fulfillment. From this perspective, giving up becomes not just undesirable, but utterly impossible. For how can you give up on something that, in your imagination, has already come to pass? Now let us delve deeper into the nature of consciousness and its relation to the concept of not giving up. You see, consciousness is the only reality. All that you perceive as the outer world is really taking place within you. The universe exists within your consciousness, not the other way around. This understanding is crucial because it means that the power to persist, to never give up, lies entirely within you. It's not dependent on external circumstances or the actions of others. It's a choice you make in the realm of your own consciousness. When you truly grasp this truth, you'll realize that giving up is nothing more than accepting a state of consciousness that doesn't serve you. And if consciousness is the only reality, and you have the power to choose your state of consciousness, then giving up becomes a logical impossibility. Let's explore this further. Imagine for a moment that you're facing a challenge that seems insurmountable. The temptation to give up feels strong. But remember, this challenge exists only in your consciousness. It's a shadow cast by your current state of mind. Now, instead of focusing on the challenge, turn your attention to the state of consciousness where this challenge is already overcome. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of accomplishment that comes with having moved past this obstacle. Let this feeling sink deep into your being. This is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is you. Consciously choosing to occupy a state of mind where giving up is not even a consideration. If you maintain this state, you'll find that the outer world has no choice but to restructure itself to match your inner reality. This is the law of assumption in action. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the world reshapes itself accordingly. Now, some of you might be wondering, but what about the times when I've given up in the past? To this I say, the past exists only in your memory. It has no power over you unless you give it power. Your true power lies in the present moment, in your ability to choose your state of consciousness. In fact, even the concept of giving up is a misunderstanding of the nature of time. There's only the eternal now. In this now, you are always free to choose again, to reimagine, to reassume the state of your fulfilled desire. From this perspective, what you might have called giving up in the past was simply a temporary shift in consciousness, one that you have the power to reverse at any moment. Let's practice this principle. Think of something in your life that you've been tempted to give up on. It could be a personal goal, a relationship, a project, anything at all. Now, instead of dwelling on the reasons why you can't achieve it, I want you to do something radical. I want you to assume the state of consciousness where you've already achieved it. Close your eyes and step into that reality. See through the eyes of the version of you who has already succeeded. Feel what that version of you feels. Move how that version of you moves. Speak how that version of you speaks. Make it so real that if you were to open your eyes right now, you'd be surprised to find yourself here and not in that achieved state. This, my dear friends, is the art of living from the end. When you master this, the very idea of giving up becomes absurd. For how can you give up on something that in your consciousness has already come to pass? Now let's address a common misconception. Some people believe that this practice of assuming the state of the wish fulfilled is a form of denial or escapism. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is not about ignoring reality. Reality is not what your physical senses report. Reality is not the sum total of your past experiences. Reality is not the opinions of others or the apparent limitations of your current circumstances. Reality is consciousness. And consciousness can be changed. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you're not denying current conditions. You're exercising your God-given power to choose the state of consciousness you wish to occupy. And since the outer world is nothing more than your consciousness pushed out, this choice inevitably leads to a change in your experienced reality. This understanding frees you from the tyranny of circumstances. It liberates you from the belief that you're at the mercy of external forces. It reveals the truth that you are the operant power in your life. And an operant power simply cannot give up. Consider it. Every invention, every scientific breakthrough, every work of art that has ever graced this world came into being because someone refused to give up on their vision. They held to their imagined reality despite all apparent contradictions. They lived in the consciousness of their fulfilled desire until the outer world conformed to their inner conviction. You have this same power. The power that created the universe is not outside of you. It is you. It is your very consciousness. And this power knows no failure, no defeat, no giving up. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we discuss these principles. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about the effort? Don't we need to take action in the physical world? Yes, there will be action, but it will not be the strained, anxious action of someone trying to make something happen. Instead, it will be the inspired, effortless action that naturally flows from your new state of consciousness. You see, when you truly assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you'll find yourself naturally doing the things that someone in that state would do. You won't have to force yourself. You won't have to overcome reluctance or fight against the temptation to give up. Your actions will be a natural outpicturing of your inner state. This is why it's so crucial to focus on the state of consciousness rather than on specific actions. The right actions will flow naturally from the right state of consciousness. Your job is simply to occupy the state. Let's explore this further with an example. Imagine you're an aspiring author who's been struggling to finish your first novel. You've been tempted many times to give up, to conclude that you're just not cut out for writing. Now, instead of focusing on the act of writing itself, I want you to assume the state of consciousness of being a successful author. Feel what it's like to hold your published book in your hands. Imagine seeing your name on the bestseller list. Feel the satisfaction of receiving glowing reviews from readers whose lives have been touched by your words. Live from this state. As you maintain this state, you'll find that the act of writing becomes joyful and effortless. You're no longer trying to become an author. In your consciousness, you already are one. The words flow easily because in your imaginal reality, you're simply doing what comes naturally to you as a successful author. This principle applies to every area of life. Whatever your goal, whatever you've been tempted to give up on, shift your focus from the struggle to achieve to the state of having already achieved. Live from that state and watch as your outer world reorganizes itself to match your inner conviction. Now let's address another aspect of not giving up. The apparent passage of time. In the world of Caesar, time seems to move in a linear fashion. We speak of past, present, and future as if they were fixed realities. But in the realm of consciousness, time is fluid. Your imaginal acts do not take place in time. They take place in the timeless realm of consciousness. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you're not projecting into the future. You're choosing to occupy that state now, in the only moment that truly exists, the present. This understanding frees you from the tyranny of time. It liberates you from the anxiety of when your desire will manifest. In your imagination, it has already manifested. Your job is simply to persist in this assumption. Remember, the outer world is a shadow, a reflection of your inner state. It may take time for this shadow to fully reflect your new state of consciousness. But this delay is not a reason to give up or to doubt. It's simply part of the bridge of incidents that leads to the full manifestation of your desire. In fact, this delay serves a purpose. It allows you to strengthen your faith, to deepen your understanding of these principles. Each day that you persist in your assumption, despite apparent contradictions, is a day that you're building spiritual muscle. You're proving to yourself the power of your own consciousness. So, when you're tempted to give up because things aren't happening as quickly as you'd like, remember consciousness, where all creation takes place. Your desire is already fulfilled. Time is simply allowing you to align more fully with this truth. Now, let's delve into another crucial aspect of why you cannot give up. The nature of your true self. You see, the you that feels tempted to give up is not your true self. It's a construct, a collection of beliefs and memories that you've identified with. But it's not the real you. Your true self is the I am. The pure awareness that underlies all your experiences. This I am is one with God, the creative power of the universe. And this power knows no limitations, no defeat, no giving up. When you say I am, you're invoking this infinite power. Whatever follows I am is what you're claiming as your reality. So when you say I am a failure or I am ready to give up, you're misusing this creative power. You're decreeing a limited state for yourself. Instead, align your I am statements with your desires. Say, I am successful, I am persistent, I am achieving my goals. Feel the truth of these statements. Let them sink deep into your consciousness. This is not affirmation. It's a recognition of your true nature. As you practice this, you'll find that the very idea of giving up becomes foreign to you. For how can infinite, limitless awareness ever give up? How can the creative power of the universe ever admit defeat? This understanding reveals the true meaning of faith. Faith is not believing in something despite evidence to the contrary. True faith is the evidence of things not seen. It's the absolute conviction in the reality of your imaginal acts. It's knowing that what you've imagined must come to pass. Because imagination creates reality. When you have this kind of faith, giving up becomes impossible. You know that any appearance of failure or setback is just that, an appearance. It's a shadow cast by an old state of consciousness, one that you've now moved beyond. Let's practice strengthening this faith. I want you to think of something you've been close to giving up on. Now, instead of focusing on the reasons why it hasn't worked out, I want you to vividly imagine it is already accomplished. See it, feel it, know it is real. Here's the crucial part. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day. Let it inform your thoughts, your words, your actions. Live as though your desire is already fulfilled. This is what it means to walk by faith, not by sight. As you do this, you'll find that your outer world begins to shift. People and circumstances will align to support your new state of consciousness. What once seemed impossible will start to feel inevitable. This is the power of persistent faith. The reason why you cannot give up. Now let's address something that often trips people up on this journey. The opinions and judgments of others. When you're living from the state of your wish fulfilled, when you're refusing to give up despite apparent setbacks, you may encounter skepticism or even ridicule from those around you. Remember this. Their opinions are nothing more than their own states of consciousness pushed out. They have no power over you unless you give them power. Their doubt is not a reflection of your reality. It's a reflection of their limited understanding. In fact, the doubts of others can serve as a powerful reminder to persist in your assumption. Each time you encounter disbelief, let it strengthen your resolve. Let it remind you to go deeper into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is what it means to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You're no longer at the mercy of external opinions or circumstances. You're living from the inside out, creating a reality from the realm of pure consciousness. As you continue this practice, you'll find that the very concept of giving up fades from your awareness. It becomes as foreign to you as the idea of the sun deciding not to rise. You cannot give up because in your true state of being, there's nothing to give. There's only the continuous unfoldment of your divine nature. The endless expression, this understanding, brings us to a profound truth. The journey itself is the destination. The process of assuming and maintaining the state of your wish fulfilled is itself the fulfillment. For in this process, you're awakening to your true nature. You're remembering who you really are. You see, my dear friends, you are not merely seeking to achieve a goal or to acquire something. You are, in truth, seeking to remember your divine nature. Every desire you have, every goal you pursue, is really a call to awaken to your true self. When you persist in the face of apparent failure, when you refuse to give up despite all evidence to the contrary, you're doing more than just working towards a goal. You're affirming your oneness with the creative power of the universe. You're declaring your true identity as a divine being, capable of shaping reality through the power of your consciousness. This is why you cannot give up. To give up would be to deny your true nature. It would be to forget who you really are. And while you may temporarily forget, you can never truly lose this knowledge. It's the very essence of your being. So as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this thought. You cannot give up because giving up is not in your nature. You are, in essence, the limitless I am. You are the creative power that shapes worlds. You are the awareness in which all experience takes place. From this perspective, every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt is really an invitation. An invitation to go deeper into your true self. An invitation to express more fully the divine power that you are. So, my dear friends, do not give up. Not on your dreams, not on your goals, and certainly not on yourself. For in persisting, in refusing to surrender to appearances, you are fulfilling the grandest purpose of all. You are remembering your true identity. You are awakening to the divine being that you are.
Let me make one thing abundantly clear at the outset of our discussion. When I speak of God ordering your steps, I am not referring to some external deity who manipulates your life like pieces on a chessboard. No. I am speaking of the God who is your own wonderful human imagination, the God who is the very consciousness that dwells within you. For consciousness is the one and only reality, and your consciousness is God in action. Tonight, I wish to share with you how God, your own wonderful human imagination, orders your steps every single day. For once you truly comprehend this principle, you will never again feel lost, abandoned, or at the mercy of chance. You will know with absolute certainty that every event, every encounter, every circumstance in your life is divinely orchestrated by the God within you. Let us begin with a fundamental truth. The world that you perceive is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the contents of your consciousness. As within, so without. Your inner assumptions, beliefs, and feelings are continually being projected outward and solidified into what you call your reality. This is how God orders your steps, through the power of your assumptions. Consider for a moment what you assume to be true about yourself, about others, about the world at large. These assumptions, these fixed beliefs, are not mere thoughts. They are creative forces that shape and mold the substance of your experience. When you assume that life is difficult, that people cannot be trusted, that success is beyond your reach, you are, in that moment, ordering your steps toward experiences that will confirm these assumptions. Conversely, when you assume the best, when you dwell in the certainty that you are guided, protected, and divinely supported, you are ordering your steps toward manifestations of these higher truths. This is the law, and the law is God in action. But how, you might ask, does this process unfold in the practical reality of your day-to-day life? Let me illustrate with a simple example. Imagine that you awaken in the morning with a feeling of joy and anticipation. You dwell in the assumption that this day will bring wonderful opportunities and delightful encounters. As you move through your day, you find yourself naturally drawn to certain locations, certain people, certain activities. Perhaps you decide on a whim to take a different route to work, or to visit a cafe you've never been to before. In that cafe, you meet someone who introduces you to an idea or opportunity that perfectly aligns with a desire you've been nurturing in your heart. Was this chance? Was it coincidence? No, my dear friend. It was God ordering your steps. The assumption of joy and opportunity that you embodied in the morning was the divine directive that orchestrated each moment of your day, leading you unerringly to the fulfillment of that assumption. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanism by which God orders your steps. Everything begins with a state of consciousness. A state is a mood, an attitude, a feeling about yourself or life. At any given moment, you are dwelling in a particular state. And from that state, certain behaviors, thoughts, and actions naturally flow. If you are in a state of anxiety, you will think anxious thoughts, notice potential threats in your environment, and take actions designed to protect yourself from perceived danger. If you are in a state of confidence, you will think empowering thoughts, notice opportunities in your environment, and take bold actions aligned with your desires. The key to allowing God to order your steps in a way that leads to the fulfillment of your desires is to consciously choose the state from which you operate. This choice is made not through intellectual decision-making, but through the feeling, the emotion, the conviction that the desired state is already yours. In my own experience, I have witnessed this principle in action countless times. I recall a period in my life when I desired to share these teachings with a wider audience. Instead of striving and struggling to make this happen through external means, I simply assumed the feeling of already being a successful teacher and author, reaching thousands with this message of truth. From that state of fulfilled desire, I found myself naturally taking certain steps, making certain decisions, speaking certain words, all of which led, with what appeared to be miraculous precision, to opportunities that allowed this desire to materialize in my world. But there was no miracle involved, only the perfect, immutable law of consciousness. This law operates with mathematical precision. Just as 2 + 2 must equal 4, so must your assumptions, persisted in, crystallize into objective facts in your world. This is how God orders your steps, not through capricious intervention or arbitrary favor, but through the flawless operation of law. But I hear your objection, Neville. If God is ordering my steps, and God is my own wonderful human imagination, why do I experience unwanted events? Why do I encounter obstacles and difficulties? Surely I am not consciously imagining these challenges. The answer lies in what I call your mental diet, the sum total of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that you have accepted as true over the course of your life. Many of these were implanted in your consciousness during childhood by well-meaning parents, teachers, and authority figures, and figures also were operating from limited understanding. Others were formed through your interpretation of past experiences. These beliefs and assumptions operate below the threshold of your conscious awareness, silently directing your steps toward experiences that confirm them. This is why self-examination is so crucial. You must become aware of the contents of your consciousness if you would take control of the direction of your life. I tell you now, with absolute conviction, that there is no force outside of your own consciousness that can dictate the course of your life. There is no fate, no luck, no chance that can override the creative power of your assumptions. God, your own wonderful human imagination, orders your steps in perfect accordance with what you accept as true. Let me share with you a principle that has transformed countless lives, the principle of revision. Revision is the art of mentally rewriting past events to align with your desires. If you have experienced something unwanted, you can, in your imagination, revise that event to unfold as you would have preferred. In doing so, you alter not only your memory of the past, but also the trajectory of your future. Why does revision work? Because time as we experience it in this three-dimensional world is an illusion. There is only the eternal now, the present moment in which all possibilities exist simultaneously. When you revise the past in your imagination, you are not pretending or fantasizing, you are actually selecting a different reality from the infinite array of possible realities that exist within your consciousness. Through revision, you cleanse your mental diet of toxic assumptions and beliefs that have been ordering your steps toward unwanted experiences. You replace these with empowering assumptions that will, with the same precision, order your steps toward desired experiences. But perhaps the most profound aspect of God ordering your steps is this: the ultimate purpose behind every event, every encounter, every circumstance in your life is to awaken you to your true identity as God. Everything that happens to you, whether you label it as good or bad, is designed to lead you to this supreme realization. This is why I urge you not to judge the events of your life by appearances. The encounter that seems most challenging may be the very catalyst needed to propel you toward a greater understanding of your divine nature. The disappointment that feels most bitter may be the precise experience required to dissolve a limiting belief that has been holding you captive. God orders your steps not for your comfort, but for your awakening. And in that awakening lies a joy and a freedom that transcends all worldly pleasure and success. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. Sold into slavery by his brothers, imprisoned unjustly, forgotten by those he helped from all outward appearances. Joseph's steps were being ordered towards suffering, yet each of these seemingly tragic events was positioning him precisely where he needed to be to fulfill his ultimate purpose and realize his divine identity. When Joseph finally revealed himself to his brothers, he spoke these profound words: "But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good." Joseph recognized that despite the appearances of evil, God was ordering his steps toward a greater good that could not have been accomplished through any other sequence of events. In your own life, can you look back at events that seemed tragic or painful at the time they occurred, only to discover later that they were essential steps leading you toward a greater good? This is the wisdom of hindsight. But I tell you that you need not wait for the passage of time to gain this perspective. You can know right now that regardless of appearances, God is ordering your steps toward your highest good, your complete awakening. But how do you align yourself with this divine orchestration? How do you consciously participate in the ordering of your steps? The answer is both simple and profound. You must live from the end. To live from the end means to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to dwell in the absolute certainty that what you desire is already yours, not as a future possibility, but as a present fact. When you live from the end, you are not trying to make something happen. You are acknowledging what already is in the realm of consciousness, which is the only reality. This principle is beautifully illustrated in Scripture. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. To believe that you receive before you see external evidence is the essence of living from the end. It is the recognition that in consciousness, in imagination, in the only reality that truly exists, your desire is already fulfilled. When you live from the end, God orders your steps with flawless precision toward the manifestation of that end in your three-dimensional experience. You need not concern yourself with the how or the when. Your only responsibility is to remain faithful to the assumption that your desire is already yours. This fidelity to your assumption is what Scripture calls faith. Faith is not hoping or wishing. It is the conviction of the reality of things not yet seen with the physical eye. It is knowing that what is true in consciousness must by law materialize in experience. I recall a lady who attended my lectures in New York. She desired a specific apartment in a building that had no vacancies. Instead of focusing on the apparent impossibility of her desire, she began to live from the end. Each night before sleep, she would imagine falling asleep in that very apartment, feeling the satisfaction of already living there. She persisted in this assumption for several weeks, never wavering despite the fact that there was no external evidence to support her claim. Then, through a series of events that no human intellect could have planned or predicted, the exact apartment she desired became available, and she was offered the lease. Was this coincidence? No, it was God ordering her steps in perfect alignment with her persistent assumption. The feeling of living in that apartment, which she faithfully maintained in her imagination, was the divine directive that orchestrated every event leading to its physical manifestation. This lady did not have to manipulate circumstances or persuade people. She did not have to plot and plan and struggle. She simply had to assume the feeling of her wish fulfilled, and from that state of fulfillment, God ordered her steps unerringly toward the objective embodiment of her desire. Now, let me address a question that often arises: if God is ordering my steps, and God is my own wonderful human imagination, do I have free will? Am I truly making choices, or is everything predetermined? The answer is both profound and paradoxical. You have absolute freedom to choose the state of consciousness from which you operate. This is your divine right, your divine gift, and no person or circumstance can deprive you of it. However, once you have chosen a state, the thoughts, feelings, actions, and experiences that flow from that state are determined by the nature of the state itself. If you choose a state of wealth consciousness, you will naturally think, feel, and act in ways consistent with that state, and your experiences will reflect this consciousness back to you. If you choose a state of poverty consciousness, your thoughts, feelings, actions, and experiences will likewise align with that choice. This is the true meaning of free will. It is not the freedom to control external events or to manipulate the behavior of others. It is the freedom to choose the state of consciousness from which you observe and interact with the world. And this choice is absolutely determinative of your experience. So you see, God's ordering of your steps is not a limitation of your freedom, but the very mechanism through which your freedom expresses itself. By choosing your state of consciousness, you are essentially instructing God, your own wonderful human imagination, how to order your steps. And this brings us to a vital point. The ordering of your steps is not a process that unfolds only occasionally or in response to specific prayers or intentions. It is happening continuously in every moment of your existence, whether you are conscious of it or not. Your assumptions are constantly being projected outward and returning to you as the experiences of your life. This is why I emphasize the importance of mindfulness, of being attentive to the contents of your consciousness. What are you assuming right now? What state are you dwelling in? The answer to these questions will reveal the direction in which your steps are being ordered. If you find yourself in a state that does not align with your desires, remember that you have the freedom to choose again. You are never locked into any state of consciousness. At any moment, you can shift your assumption and thereby alter the course of your life. But how does one make this shift? It is not through force of will or through positive thinking as it is commonly understood. It is through the art of feeling, of experiencing in imagination the reality of the desired state. To shift from a state of lack to a state of abundance, you must feel the relief, the security, the freedom that abundance would bring. To shift from a state of loneliness to a state of loving relationship, you must feel the joy, the companionship, the intimacy that such a relationship would provide. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the directive that orders your steps toward the manifestation of your desire. And here, my dear friends, we touch upon a mystery so profound that it has eluded the greatest minds throughout human history. The mystery is this: the feeling of the wish fulfilled, persisted in, will order your steps, not only toward the manifestation of that wish, but the transformation of your very being. For the ultimate purpose of existence is not the accumulation of possessions or experiences, as wonderful as these may be. It is the realization of your divine identity, the awakening to the truth that you are God expressing himself as a unique human personality. This awakening is what Scripture calls the birth from above. It is the moment when you no longer believe in God as an external entity, but know yourself to be God in human form. And every event in your life, every step that has been ordered by your assumptions, has been leading you toward this supreme realization. I tell you truly, once you have awakened to your divine identity, you will look back on your life and see that every event, every encounter, every circumstance, whether you labeled it as fortunate or unfortunate, at the time was time for divine orchestration leading you to this awakening. You will see that there were no mistakes, no wrong turns, no wasted experiences. All was perfectly ordered according to the law of consciousness, the law that is God in action. And in that recognition, you will feel a gratitude so profound that it transforms your understanding of the entire human journey. Let me illustrate this with a personal experience. Many years ago, I found myself in a situation that, by all external measures, appeared to be a devastating setback. I had invested considerable time and resources in a venture that failed completely, leaving me in a state of financial uncertainty. In that moment, I had a choice. I could assume that I was a victim of circumstance, that life was unfair, that my steps were being ordered toward hardship and lack. Or I could assume that this apparent setback was actually a divine redirection, ordering my steps toward a greater purpose that I could not yet perceive with my physical senses. I chose the latter assumption, not as a form of positive thinking or wishful optimism, but as a recognition of the law of consciousness that I knew to be true. I lived from the end of having already transcended this temporary challenge and having been led to a greater expression of my purpose. Within weeks, through a series of events that no human intellect could have orchestrated, I was introduced to opportunities that not only resolved the financial situation, but opened doors to share these teachings with audiences I would never have reached had the original venture succeeded. Looking back, I can see with perfect clarity that what appeared to be a setback was, in fact, God ordering my steps with flawless precision toward the fulfillment of my true purpose. And this is true not only in my experience, but in yours as well. Every experience you have ever had, every step you have ever taken, has been perfectly ordered to lead you to this moment, to this understanding, to this opportunity to awaken to your divine identity, and to consciously participate in the ordering of your steps. So how, in practical terms, do you align yourself with this divine orchestration? How do you consciously participate in God's ordering of your steps? Let me offer you specific guidance. First, clarify your desire. What is it that you truly want to experience? Not what you think is possible based on your current circumstances, but what would you choose if you knew that all things were possible to the God within you? Once you have clarified your desire, construct a scene that would imply its fulfillment. This scene should be simple, concise, and imply that your desire is already a reality. Perhaps it is a conversation with a friend in which you share the good news of your desire's fulfillment. Perhaps it is simply the feeling of relief and satisfaction that would accompany the realization of your wish. With your scene constructed, enter into a state of relaxation. This is crucial, for the subconscious mind, which is the creative power of God within you, is most receptive when the conscious mind is temporarily suspended. Just before sleep is an ideal time for this practice, as the transition from wakefulness to sleep naturally bypasses the analytical, critical faculties of the conscious mind. In this relaxed state, enact your scene in imagination. See it clearly, hear the sounds that would accompany it, feel the emotions that would arise from the fulfillment of your desire. Make the scene as vivid and as real as possible, involving all your senses. Most importantly, feel the reality of what you are imagining. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is the directive that orders your steps toward the manifestation of your desire. Repeat this practice nightly, or whenever you find yourself in a quiet, receptive state. Do not be concerned with how or when your desire will materialize. Your responsibility is not to figure out the process, but to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. As you go about your daily activities, maintain the assumption that your desire is already a reality in consciousness, which is the only reality. This does not mean denying the evidence of your senses or pretending that conditions are other than they appear to be. It means knowing that appearances are merely shadows, reflections of past assumptions, and that the newly established assumption will, in due course, replace these shadows with the substance of your desire. Throughout your day, whenever doubts or contradictory evidences present themselves, quietly return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do not fight against negative thoughts or feelings. Simply withdraw your attention from them and redirect it to the assumption of fulfillment. This practice persisted in will order your steps with divine precision toward the manifestation of your desire. You need not concern yourself with the specific actions you should take or the decisions you should make. From the state of fulfilled desire, you will naturally think the thoughts, feel the feelings, and take the actions that lead to its externalization. But remember, the greatest desire, the ultimate purpose toward which all your steps are being ordered, is the realization of your divine identity. Every lesser desire, when fulfilled, is designed to lead you toward this supreme realization. So as you practice this art of conscious assumption, do so not only for the fulfillment of specific desires, but for the awakening to your true self. Assume the feeling, I am God, expressing as this unique human personality. Live from that assumption and watch as your steps are ordered toward experiences that confirm and deepen this truth. In the final analysis, God's ordering of your steps is not about controlling external events or accumulating possessions and experiences, as delightful as these may be. It is about awakening you to who you truly are and have always been, God Himself individualized as you. Every event in your life, every step you have taken, has been leading you toward this supreme realization. And once you have awakened to this truth, you will look back on your journey with profound gratitude, recognizing that all was perfectly ordered according to the divine pattern woven into the very fabric of your being. My dear friends, as we bring this discussion to a close, I want to leave you with a thought so powerful, so transformative, that if you truly embrace it, your life will never be the same. The God who is ordering your steps is not separate from you, is not external to you, is not other than you. The God who is ordering your steps is the very consciousness in which you live and move and have your being. You are that God expressing Himself as this unique human personality, this specific pattern of thinking and feeling and perceiving. And the more fully you embrace this truth, the more consciously you can participate in the ordering of your steps. So I say to you now, with all the conviction of my being, assume a divinity. Live from the certainty that you are God expressing in human form. Feel the peace, the power, the limitless potential that this realization brings. And from that state of divine self-awareness, watch as your steps are ordered with flawless precision toward experiences that reflect and confirm your true identity. Remember, the feeling is the secret. The feeling of being God in human form, of being the divine consciousness that orders all things according to its nature, is the most powerful assumption you can make. Live from that feeling, and you will witness a transformation in your life so profound that you will pound in all the perfection with which your steps have been and are being ordered. I thank you for your attention, for your openness to these truths, and for your willingness to test them in the laboratory of your own experience. For that is where all truth must ultimately be verified, not in the realm of theory or belief, but in the lived reality of your daily life. Go now in the awareness of your divine identity and watch as God orders your steps toward the fulfillment of your desires and the realization of your true self. For I tell you truly, as you assume your divinity, as you live from the certainty that you are God expressing in human form, your steps will be ordered with such divine precision that you will look back on this moment as the beginning of a new and glorious chapter in your eternal existence. In the words of Scripture, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Go forth now in the knowledge that you are that Lord, ordering your own steps through the power of your divine imagination. And in that knowledge, in that assumption, in that feeling lies the freedom and the power to create the life you desire to live. Thank you, and good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, my beloved brothers and sisters, today I come to you with a word that will shake the very foundation of your spirit, a revelation that will transform your thinking, elevate your faith, and position you to walk in the fullness of God's promises. I speak to you not as mere men and women, but as chosen vessels, as kings and queens in the making, as the elect of the Most High, who have been tested, refined, and prepared for a season of divine overflow. Many of you have been through trials that made you question your calling. You have endured storms that threatened to break you. You have faced betrayals, setbacks, disappointments, and long nights of wondering when God's promise would manifest. But I came here today to tell you your season of trial has come to an end. The days of struggling, barely making it, fighting for survival, they are over. The Lord has declared over you, "Well done, my faithful servant. Now step into abundance." You see, trials are not punishments. Trials are not meant to destroy you. Trials are divine classrooms, places of testing, where God molds his chosen ones into leaders, influencers, and stewards of great wealth. Gold must go through fire before it shines. Diamonds must be pressed before they sparkle. Oil must be crushed before it flows. And you, God's chosen one, have been through your crushing, your pressing, your refining fire. And now it is time for your reward. The word of God declares in Deuteronomy 8:18, "Remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant." It is not the world that gives wealth. It is not luck. It is not the systems of men. It is God himself who grants the power to generate wealth, to establish dominion, to live in the overflow. And why does he do it? That his covenant may be established. Let me tell you something. Poverty is not your portion. Lack is not your inheritance. Struggle is not your destiny. You were born for dominion. The enemy has deceived many into believing that they must suffer indefinitely, that they must live in scarcity to be humble. But let me ask you, how does a child of the king live like a beggar? How does an heir to the kingdom walk like a slave? The moment you recognize who you are, your posture changes, your mindset shifts, and your circumstances must bow to the authority of your revelation. You are not just anyone. You are God's chosen. Before you were born, he knew you. Before you took your first breath, he had a purpose for you. And part of that purpose is to be a conduit of his wealth. He is shifting you from borrower to lender, from worker to owner, from survival to significance. The trials were your training ground. The hardships were your preparation. You had to be tested so that when the millions come, you will not be consumed by them, but you will steward them for the glory of God. Let me remind you of Joseph. The young man had a dream of greatness, a vision of prosperity, but before the palace he faced the pit. Before the crown he wore chains. Before ruling he was falsely accused. But through it all God was training him. He was refining his character, sharpening his wisdom, preparing his heart, and when the moment came, Joseph stepped into his wealth, not as a selfish man, but as a divine steward. Likewise, your journey has not been in vain. Every tear you cried, every night you prayed, every moment you felt abandoned, it was all part of the preparation. You had to lose some things to gain better things. You had to walk through seasons of emptiness so you could appreciate the overflow. You had to endure trials to prove your faithfulness. And because you did not give up, because you remained faithful, because you held on to the promises of God, now the floodgates of heaven are opening for you. God is not just giving you money, He is giving you divine strategies. He is placing ideas in your mind that will birth industries. He is giving you favor that will open doors no man can shut. He is sending the right people to connect with you, the right opportunities to align with your purpose. But you must be ready to step into it. Many people pray for abundance but are not prepared to receive it. If God gives you millions today, will you manage it well? If He entrusts you with wealth, will you use it for His kingdom, or will you let it corrupt you? The reason God allows trials before the breakthrough is to shape your heart, to ensure that when the millions come, they do not take His place in your life. Let me speak prophetically into your life. You are stepping into an era where doors will open without struggle, where financial opportunities will locate you, where debts will be cancelled and wealth will flow into your hands. But hear me. This is not just about you. This is about kingdom expansion. This is about feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, funding the gospel, building schools, hospitals, and businesses that will glorify God. You're not just becoming a millionaire for your comfort. You are becoming a millionaire for kingdom impact. There is an anointing for wealth that is being released upon the chosen ones, and it is for those who have endured the test. The wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous, and now is the time of divine wealth transfer. God is positioning you to be a leader in the marketplace, a financier of the gospel, a pillar in your community. The world is waiting for you to rise. Your family is waiting for you to break generational curses. Your city is waiting for the manifestation of God's glory in your life. This is your time. This is your moment. The wait is over. No more delay, no more excuses. Walk boldly into the blessing. Step courageously into the overflow. The trials are over. Now you are stepping into your millionaire status. This is not wishful thinking. This is not motivational speech. This is divine revelation. The enemy has tried to keep you blind to your inheritance, but today your eyes are opening. The chains of limitation are breaking. The curses of poverty are being reversed. The season of just enough is turning into a season of more than enough. So I challenge you today, change your mindset. Stop thinking like a slave and start thinking like a ruler. Stop expecting scarcity and start expecting overflow. Stop waiting for permission and start taking dominion. Wealth is not coming to the lazy. Wealth is not coming to the fearful. Wealth is coming to the diligent, the bold, the faithful, the obedient. The trials were necessary. They humbled you, they refined you, they tested your faith. And now, because you endured, you shall reap the reward. You are not just going to make a little money, you are going to be a millionaire. You are going to fund the kingdom. You are going to change lives. You are going to walk in such abundance that generations after you will call you blessed. So get ready, get positioned, get aligned with God's principles. Sow, invest, plan, and expect the harvest, because what is coming to you is bigger than what you prayed for. It is exceeding, abundant, above all you can ask or think. It is supernatural wealth, divine acceleration, unstoppable favor. The trials are over, and now you're going to be a millionaire. Hallelujah. The problem with many of God's people is not that they lack the capacity for greatness, but that they have been conditioned by the world to expect struggle as their permanent reality. Some of you have been so accustomed to hardship that when God opens a door, you hesitate. When an opportunity comes, you question it. When the breakthrough is at your doorstep, you shrink back in fear. But let me remind you today, God does not bring you through trials just to leave you in the wilderness. He does not allow you to be tested without a reward in mind. Every struggle has a purpose. Every hardship has a lesson. Every delay has a divine reason. And when that purpose is fulfilled, God will do exactly what He promised. He will bless you beyond measure. There are some of you who have been faithful in seasons of lack, and God has been watching. He has seen how you have managed the little you had. He saw you give when it was hard to give. He saw you trust when it was hard to trust. He saw you serve when you were tired and weary. And because you have been faithful over little, He is now about to make you ruler over much. The reason God allows seasons of testing is not to break you, but to qualify you. You have been tested, and now you are stepping into promotion. The trials were the prerequisite for your next level. Many people want the crown without the process. They want the millions without the discipline. They want success without obedience. But God does not work that way. God does not pour oil on an unprepared vessel. God does not release wealth into untrained hands. If you give a child a kingdom, he will destroy it, not because he is evil, but because he lacks the maturity to manage it. That is why God has taken you through trials, so that when the millions come, they will not destroy you, but rather they will empower you. Look at David. Before he became king, he was a shepherd. Before he sat on the throne, he lived in caves. Before he wore a crown, he faced Goliath. Why? Because God had to train him in obscurity before he could trust him with authority. Some of you have been hidden, unnoticed, overlooked, and rejected, but that was part of your training. God was sharpening your skills, developing your character, teaching you patience. And now, the season of hiding is over. You are stepping into your rightful place, not as a servant, but as a ruler. The wealth is coming, the favor is coming, the open doors are coming. But will you be ready? There is a principle in the kingdom. God blesses those who are ready. Some of you are praying for millions, but you have not yet mastered the art of managing hundreds. Some of you are asking for abundance, but your mindset is still stuck in scarcity. God does not pour new wine into old wineskins. Before He releases wealth, He transforms the mind. That is why Romans 12:02 tells us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. You cannot enter a millionaire's season with a poverty mindset. You cannot step into overflow while thinking like a beggar. Your mindset must shift before your reality does. The enemy has been working overtime to keep God's people ignorant of their inheritance. He knows that a believer with financial power is a dangerous believer. He knows that if you ever step into your wealth, you will break generational curses, fund the gospel, build schools, take over industries, and shift economies. That is why he fights you. That is why he tries to keep you bound in survival mode. He knows that as long as you are struggling, you are distracted. But today I came to announce that the chains are breaking. The deception is being exposed. The strongholds of lack and limitation are being destroyed. You are stepping into a season where money will no longer be your master but your servant. Money was never meant to control you, it was meant to serve you. That is why Jesus spoke so much about stewardship. He did not condemn wealth, he condemned the love of it. Money is a tool, a resource, a means to fulfill purpose. It is not your identity. It is not your security. It is not your God. When you understand this, you will stop chasing money and start attracting it. You will stop worrying about finances and start walking in divine provision. The reason many people struggle financially is because they have made money their master. But Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." When you shift your focus from money to purpose, from survival to dominion, from fear to faith, wealth begins to find you. The chosen ones do not beg for blessings. They walk in blessings. They do not chase favor, they attract favor. They do not wait for opportunities, they create them. This is the season where you must start thinking differently. You are not a victim. You are not at the mercy of the economy. You are not bound by what the world says you can have. You are a kingdom citizen, and in the kingdom there is no lack. In the kingdom there are no limits. In the kingdom, prosperity is your inheritance. Some of you have been conditioned by religion to believe that wealth is evil. But let me ask you, how can you fund the kingdom without resources? How can you be a blessing to others if you are struggling to survive? The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. You are not called to leave debts behind. You are called to leave a legacy. The wealth that is coming to you is not just for you. It is for your children, your grandchildren, and for the advancement of God's work. This is the time to position yourself. Get educated, develop new skills, start thinking like an owner, invest wisely, seek wisdom. Do not let this opportunity pass you by. The trials are over, the season of struggle has ended, and now it is time to walk into your inheritance. If you have been faithful, God is about to show himself strong in your life. The days of barely getting by are finished. The days of endless battles are coming to an end. Now is the time to rise, to take dominion, and to walk boldly into your millionaire season. The enemy tried to keep you down, but he failed. The storms tried to break you, but they only made you stronger. The setbacks tried to delay you, but they only positioned you for greater. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for your good. The waiting was not wasted. The suffering was not pointless. Everything you went through was preparing you for what is about to happen. This is not just a new season. This is a new dimension. This is a supernatural shift. This is the manifestation of God's promise. So I say to you today, get ready. Expand your vision. Make room for abundance. Start preparing for what is coming. Do not be like the 5 foolish virgins who were not ready when the time came. Get your house in order. Set your affairs in place. Expect the overflow. You are about to see the hand of God move in your life like never before. You are about to experience supernatural favor. The trials are over. Now you are stepping into divine prosperity. This is not for everyone. This is for the chosen ones. This is for those who did not give up. This is for those who endured. This is for those who remained faithful when things got tough. And because you endured, because you remained steadfast, because you trusted in God, now the heavens are opening over you. Now the wealth of the wicked is being transferred to you. Now doors are swinging wide open. Now you are stepping into the reality of God's promise. The trials were only temporary, but the blessing will be permanent. You are going to be a millionaire, not for selfish gain, not for vain pursuits, but for kingdom impact. The wealth is coming so that you can be a solution to problems, a light in darkness, a testimony of God's goodness. The days of struggling are over. The trials have served their purpose. Now it is time to walk in the fullness of what God has destined for you. The season has shifted. The floodgates have opened. The trials are over, and now you are going to be a millionaire. The journey you have walked has been necessary. Every tear you shed, every hardship you endured, every moment of doubt you faced, it was all preparing you for this. God was not punishing you. He was promoting you. He was stretching you, expanding your capacity, and enlarging your territory. You see, the problem is not that God is unwilling to bless you. The problem is that too many people want a blessing they are not yet ready to handle. God cannot release wealth into unprepared hands. He cannot give increase to those who lack the discipline to sustain it. That is why He allowed the process. That is why He tested you. And because you have endured, because you have been found faithful, now He is releasing the increase. Some of you have been crying out to God, asking, Lord, when will my breakthrough come? And He is saying the breakthrough is already here, but are you ready to walk in it? Many people are waiting for a sign, waiting for a miracle, waiting for something external to change. But the truth is, before the external shifts, the internal must shift. Your mindset must shift. Your faith must increase. Your habits must align with the vision God has given you. You cannot expect millionaire status while thinking in poverty. You cannot expect financial increase while still operating in lack. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If you see yourself as small, you will remain small. If you see yourself as incapable, you will remain incapable. But when you recognize that you are chosen, when you understand that you have been set apart, when you truly believe that you are destined for greatness, then nothing can stop the manifestation of God's promises in your life. The enemy does not attack people who have no purpose. He attacks those who are dangerous to his kingdom. That is why your trials were so intense. That is why the warfare against you was so fierce. He saw what you were about to become. He saw the wealth that was coming to you. He saw the influence that God was positioning you for, and he tried to break you before you could step into it. But he failed. You're still standing, you're still believing, you're still trusting, and because you did not give up, because you did not quit, now you are stepping into your season of supernatural release. The Word of God says that he will restore the years that the locusts have eaten. Some of you have lost time. You have lost opportunities. You have watched others move ahead while you felt stuck. But God is a God of restoration. He is not just giving you back what you lost, he is multiplying it. He is giving you double for your trouble. He is accelerating what seemed delayed. What took others 10 years will take you 1 year. What seemed impossible will become effortless. This is the season of divine acceleration, where things will happen so fast your head will spin. Many of you have been faithful with little, and now God is making you ruler over much. He is giving you divine strategies, supernatural wisdom, and ideas that will generate wealth for generations. But hear me, this wealth is not just for your comfort. It is for kingdom expansion. It is for breaking generational curses. It is for establishing businesses that will employ others. It is for feeding the hungry, housing the homeless, funding the gospel, and being a light in the marketplace. The wealth is coming with a purpose, and those who understand that purpose will see an increase beyond their imagination. Too many believers are waiting for wealth to fall from the sky. But the truth is, God blesses the work of your hands. That means you must be doing something, you must be building something, you must be sowing seeds of diligence, creativity, and obedience. You cannot sit idly and expect abundance to chase you. Faith without works is dead. You must align your actions with your faith. If you believe you are stepping into millionaire status, then start moving like a millionaire. Start thinking like an owner. Start preparing for what is coming. Make room for the overflow. The reason some people never walk into their blessing is that they never prepare for it. They pray for a harvest but never plant seeds. They ask for promotion but never develop the skills required for the next level. They expect abundance but still operate in a spirit of scarcity. But God is saying today, I am ready to release it, but are you ready to receive it? This is the time to take action. This is the time to get serious about your purpose. This is the time to move in faith, even when you do not see the full picture. Because when you move, heaven moves. When you step out, the provision meets you. When you obey, the doors open. The trials were never meant to destroy you, they were meant to reveal you. Diamonds are formed under pressure, oil is released through crushing, gold is purified in fire, and you, God's chosen one, have been through the process. You have been through the refining. You have been through the pressing. And now it is time for the unveiling. The season of hiddenness is over. The season of struggle has expired. Now you are stepping into the manifestation of everything God has spoken over your life. Some of you have been afraid to step out because of past failures. You tried before and it didn't work. You believed before and it didn't happen. But hear me, the past does not define your future. The enemy wants to keep you trapped in the cycle of disappointment, but today that cycle is breaking. This is a new season, a fresh start, a divine reset. The doors that closed before will now open. The opportunities that were blocked will now be released. The favor that was delayed will now accelerate. God is not limited by your past. He is not restricted by what has happened before. He is doing a new thing. Can you perceive it? Can you embrace it? Can you believe it? Because those who believe will see the manifestation. Those who expect it will walk in it. Those who align themselves with God's promises will experience supernatural results. This is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to hesitate. This is the time to move boldly, to walk in faith, to take possession of what belongs to you. You have been anointed for such a time as this. You have been positioned for this moment. Everything you went through was leading to this. The struggles, the setbacks the betrayals, the losses, they were all necessary for your elevation. And now the elevation has come. The shift has happened. The wealth is being transferred, the resources are being released, and those who have been faithful will now reap the rewards. So let me ask you, are you ready? Are you truly ready to walk in the fullness of God's blessing? Because this is not just about financial wealth. This is about purpose. This is about influence. This is about impact. Money without purpose is meaningless. Wealth without assignment is wasted. But when you understand why God is blessing you, when you align your wealth with His kingdom, when you use what He gives you for His glory, then there is no limit to what He will do in your life. The chosen ones are rising. The marketplace leaders, the kingdom financiers, the business owners, the innovators, the problem solvers, they are emerging. This is the time to build, to create, to take dominion. This is the time to establish systems that will last for generations. This is the time to break cycles of poverty and establish new legacies of wealth. The world will see the manifestation of God's power in your life. They will see the hand of God upon you. They will see that you serve a God who does not just supply your needs, but gives you more than enough. The trials were necessary, but they are over now. The waiting season has ended. The struggle has served its purpose. Now the abundance is being released. Now the overflow is coming. Now the millions are manifesting. And those who are ready will walk into it. Those who are prepared will take possession. Those who believe will see the impossible become possible. This is the hour. This is the moment. The season has shifted. The trials are over. Now you are going to be a millionaire. There is a sound in the spirit, a sound of breakthrough, a sound of release, a sound of divine acceleration. You have been waiting, you have been laboring, you have been enduring, but now the heavens are open over you. The storehouses of heaven are pouring out blessings that you do not have room enough to receive. The delay has been broken, the barriers have been removed, and what once seemed impossible is now within reach. You see, the enemy wanted to convince you that the trials would last forever. He wanted you to believe that struggle was your portion, that lack was your inheritance, that hardship was your destiny. But today I declare that the enemy is a liar. You were never meant to live in survival mode. You were never meant to beg for what already belongs to you. You were never meant to live beneath your calling. You were created for dominion, for abundance, for overflow. You were designed to be the lender and not the borrower, the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. And now you are stepping into that reality. This is a divine wealth transfer. This is supernatural favor. What took others decades to accomplish will happen for you in moments. Contracts will find you, clients will seek you out, partnerships will be established, doors you did not even knock on will open, your name is being spoken in rooms you have never entered. People are being divinely positioned to bless you, to invest in you, to elevate you, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because God has ordained it. Because the trials were only a test, and now that you have passed, you are stepping into your season of divine reward. There is a shift happening, a supernatural shift. It is happening right now, even as you hear these words. Things are aligning in the spirit. Mountains are being moved. Chains are breaking. And as you step forward in faith, you will see the evidence. You will see the manifestation. You will see the fulfillment of God's promises. The trials were necessary, but they are over. The struggle was a process, but it is complete. Now the floodgates of heaven are open. Now your millionaire season has arrived. Now is the time to walk boldly in the manifestation of God's promises. The trials were never meant to define you. They were meant to refine you. The struggle was never your destiny. It was only preparation for your elevation. You have been tested. You have been stretched. You have been shaped for this moment. And now the season of lack has come to an end. Step forward with faith. Move with expectation. Align your mind, your actions, and your spirit with the abundance that God is releasing into your life. This is not the time to shrink back, not the time to doubt, not the time to hesitate. Everything you have endured was for this purpose, to position you for increase, to establish you in dominion, to release you into wealth that will not just bless you, but will impact generations. The shift has happened. The doors are open. The opportunities are before you. The trials are over. Now, step into your millionaire season with confidence, knowing that God has ordained it, heaven has sanctioned it, and nothing can stop what He has set in motion. The time is now.